Good afternoon, everybody, and firstly thank you to Paul and Farm Writers Association for inviting me to address you this afternoon. It's a great pleasure to be here speaking to a crowd that is so passionate about agriculture. I've spent most of my working life in the agricultural sector, and it's such an important industry to the Australian economy and to the fabric of Australian life, so it's pleasing that groups such as this exist to help promote the understanding, or the greater understanding of our industry in the wider community. Had I spoken to you 12 months ago, it would have been in a very different capacity. At that time, Elders, one of Australia's oldest and most iconic companies, was going through a sale process, and I was a board member. As you know, the sale didn't proceed, and I was appointed chairman as we finalised our transition back to being a pure-play agribusiness. This included the divestment of a number of non-core assets, including our forestry business that had been bleeding a lot of cash from the company over many years, and our automotive businesses. Fast forward 12 months and there's no doubt that 2014 has been a big year of change for Elders. We have renewed our board and management team, been making progress against the 4 key priorities we set at last year's AGM, started delivering signs of a turnaround at the half-year results, and launched an 8-point plan which sets an aspirational target to achieve $60 million of EBIT with a 20% return on capital by 2017. We've also simplified our business to reflect the pure-play agribusiness that we are today. Elders is an agribusiness that operates in 5 key segments: our retail products, our agency services, financial services, our feed and processing services, and our live export services. And we operate in 4 key geographies: in Northern, Southern, Western Australia, and our international geographies. Amid all this change, one thing's been clear. We've adopted a strategic, planned and methodical approach to the way we run the business. What I often refer to within the business as our low pulse rate approach, where we now make right decisions for right reasons. So the time and the era of Elders making cowboy decisions on emotion or on ego, on market share aspirations are gone. So today I'll talk about changes at Elders in recent times. I'll touch briefly on where we've come from. After all, 2014 is at the 175th year of Elders. But most importantly, I'll talk about our future, because it's not where we've come from, it's where we're going to. 2014 sees Elders celebrating its 175th anniversary, and this is not just a milestone for us, but signifies the strength in the Australia's agricultural industry and the strength and the stoic nature of the many people involved in developing rural regional Australia over the last 175 years. When Alexander Elder first stepped on the shores of South Australia back in 1839, I wonder if he would have imagined the legacy he and his family would leave, or that their business would continue to shape this nation's agricultural industry some 175 years later. Elders is a business which has outlived 2 world wars, the Great Depression, a global economic crisis, stock market crashes, major bushfires, droughts and floods. And from a North Queenslander's perspective, it's also withstood a year when New South Wales Blues and Waratahs won in the same year. Elders is a business which has trained more professionals located across rural Australia than any other organisation. A business that pushes boundaries of innovation and evolution and invests in new science and technologies. And a business that is proud of its commitment to rural and regional Australia and the communities in which it's operated for the last 175 years. Over the years, the Elders family legacy has touched the lives of thousands of people, including generations of employees and clients. As with rural Australia, Elders has emerged from the last 175 years stronger, more focused and better prepared for the future. We have learned a lot about what to do, and we have learned a lot about what not to do when you're running a pure-play Australian agribusiness. At our AGM last year, we announced the refocus of Elders to be a pure-play agribusiness and identified 4 key priorities or key areas for priority focus within the business. The 4 priority areas were safety performance, operational performance, leadership renewal and capital management. So 10 months later, I'm pleased to say that we're making progress against each of these priorities. And I say this in that low pulse rate way, because there's a long way to go. On the safety front, we've almost halved our lost time injuries year to date, and our aim remains to be lost time injury free. Our major areas of injuries have been our manual handling areas and our livestock handling areas, and we're focused on improvements in both of these areas. And I just point out that in 2013 there were 33 lost time injuries in elders, so I'd say a third of the people in the room were injured. And injuries within a business, in our mind, and certainly I know Hutch and I have exactly the same view on this, in our mind this demonstrates or is an indicator that a business is not being run properly. The safe businesses are profitable businesses, they're disciplined businesses, you have teamwork, you have attention to detail, you have people looking after each other. So in moving to this year with a significant reduction in the number of lost time injuries, in the financial market it doesn't mean a lot, within our business it means heaps. Operationally, our performance has lifted significantly. At the half-year results, we reported signs of a turnaround with a $30 million improvement at underlying EBIT level, and it's pleasing to note that we're largely on track on a full-year basis, even in the face of less than favourable conditions in Northern Australia. All areas of our business have lifted earnings contribution, and in the main we are managing what we can manage effectively. The key strategies of our 8-point plan have been developed, modelled, and are now being implemented throughout the business, with all material decisions within the business referenced against the 8-point plan. Leadership renewal has also occurred through the appointment of 2 new non-exec directors with a strong agribusiness and financial background, and with our most experienced director, Hutch Rank, being appointed the chairman, and myself being appointed CEO. We now have a board with a single industry focus, and I'm happy to say we have a board that's composed of values-based, financially driven, return on capital people who understand and have empathy for the agricultural areas. Good progress in our capital management has also been made. Our term debt has almost halved over this period. Under our 8-point plan, our aim is to run a capital-light business, and we've driven a deep and ongoing return on capital focus throughout the business. Now, to drive this through 2,000 people across Australia and Indonesia and China is not a quick process. So we start at the top. Everyone in the business has a copy of the 8-point plan, and we'll continue to drive it. So, as I say, we've got a way to go in the process. So underpinning our ability to continue our turnaround journey and to continue to making progress against the 4 priority areas the 8-point plan, is the 8-point plan. It's our strategic vision for becoming an efficient user of capital and a business that produces acceptable returns for all of our stakeholders while serving our customer needs. Back in January, we brought in about 40 of our senior leaders from across the business to identify what we exist for, what we excel at, and how we want to deliver on the needs of our clients. So this is a fundamental change in the historical approach to elders. In elders, we are now a consultant-free zone, as most of our answers are available from within the business. The consultant zone that we talk about, we often refer to as our era of self-harm. Through that process, we were able to identify 8 tangible and achievable agribusiness objectives that we feel confident we can execute over the next 3 years. The aim of it all is to work towards an aspirational target of creating a sustainable EBIT of $60 million and a return on capital of 20% in and from FY17. Whilst a lot of hard work is yet to be done to get there, and while agricultural markets are uncertain from a climatic viewpoint, we're confident that the foundations of growth are now in place and will be enhanced through implementing the 8-point plan. The 8-point plan has now been released throughout the business and to the ASX. And of course, what you don't measure, you can't manage. So we have a detailed operational plan that has been developed from the 8-point plan. So all employees have a copy, milestones-based, timelines-based, as you'd expect for a professionally run business. Some measures are still in their development phase and others are more advanced. So today I'll single out a few initiatives that we think offer the greatest opportunity for improvement. In the farm supplies and fertiliser space, we're seeking to develop and implement a capital-light, return on capital-driven business model. The return on capital measures through this area are generally and have historically been quite low and under the weighted average cost of capital, so generally across many businesses they destroy value. So this means working closely with our supply partners to develop mutually beneficial business models. It also means moving to specialist niche products, including specialist fertiliser blends, with higher service components and correlated higher margins. We'll also be